Hello and welcome back to Bookish and welcome to my Saturday Hodgepodge, my weekly wrap-up of reading, booktube stuff, other kinds of stuff sometimes I like to talk about. I thought I would take advantage of the fact this last weekend in January to do my wrap-up for January, even though I'm not quite completed my reading, and then do my TBR and just to talk about some other stuff like the Booktube Prize and some recommendations. So just to start off with a wrap-up of January. January was a month in which I decided to read books that had been recommended to me by other booktubers or books that I'd seen on the Booktube channel. So every book this month, fits that qualification except for one. I didn't read quite as many books as I wanted to, and in part, the Booktube Prize explains why. But the first book I read this month was This Is Not a Novel by David Markson. This book was recommended to me by Marc Nash, who's a big fan of Markson and of this work. I think in the review I did, which was a kind of a different review I referred to it as a modern novel. It's actually a postmodern novel, but I really enjoyed it. I got a real kick out of it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was, I'm not a big postmodernist, I guess, but I really thought it was effective, and I liked it quite a bit. I also read Angle of Repose by Wallace Stegner. This has been recommended by Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading, and this was just a really great read for me. It's a long book, it's chunky, it's like 630-something pages. I already did a review of this, but I found the writing to be beautiful and the story to be compelling and the characters to be really interesting. I went back to it over and over again. And then just this week, I finished The Other Name by Joan Fosse. I know I'm saying his name different every time. And this book I saw on Silje's channel, and a book that she said that she loved, and I am now a Joan Fosse fan, and I will be reading a lot more of his stuff because I absolutely love this book. The two books I read this month that I did not review and didn't talk about really are An Inventory of Losses by Judith Schlansky. This book was originally published in German, and it was translated by Jackie Smith. Zelda's decided to have a chat with us. No, there's nothing out there. Zelda! Don't get Ike up. It's one of those mornings. This is a book which essentially contains essays that Schlansky's written about all these things that used to exist or ceased to exist, and it really is a lot different than I thought it'd be. I think this is an example of the jacket copy kind of leading me a bit astray from what it actually was, but once I got past that, I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of kind of meditations on nature and place and history and even to a certain extent celebrity and myth making, and then it's really interesting. And this is just a beautiful book design. I believe Judith Schlansky's won awards for her book design, and this is just I've gushed over the design of this book several times, so I'll try to hold back, but I believe she designed this book as well. And then another thing I intended to read this month was Oscar and Lucinda by Peter Carey. This book's been recommended to me several times by Jason at Old Blues Chapter and Verse, and I just didn't get to it. I'll kind of talk about why here in just a minute. I also then have a project this year to read one book that's been on my shelf for a really long period of time that I've never read, and this month that book was The Body Artist by Don Delillo, which I've had on my shelf unread for 20 years, which just seems strange since it's less than 130 pages long. I found some of this to be quite compelling and beautiful and thought-provoking, but on the whole, it seemed a little bit, there are a few cliches here, I think, that didn't really work for me. And to be honest with you, it's not a book that I have thought about a lot since reading it. Anyway, that's what I read this month. So next month is Black History Month, and I'd intended to do a lot of Black History Month reading, and then I remembered that I signed up for the Booktube Prize, which also explains some of the reasons why I didn't get to Peter Carey's Oscar and Lucinda. When I got my Booktube Prize, I'm in Booktube Prize D, I believe, and I'll put a picture of the group right there. And Booktube Prize D contains some really big books, most notably Red Comet, the new biography of Sylvia Plath is in my group, and then this book, which works out really well for me for Black History Month, which is Black Spartacus, The Epic Life of Tootight Lautrec by Sudhir Hazareesingh. I'll be reading that too, and this book comes in, you know, somewhere over 500 or 600 pages as well, I believe. So that's two really big books. That made me nervous, and so I got started reading some of my Black History Month TBR early, and the book I read early is Memorial Drive. I read that on my Kindle, which is the first book I've read on the Kindle. I really enjoyed it. I don't know why. It seemed to speed up my reading speed, but it did. So Memorial Drive by Natasha Trethewey. It's a memoir involving the murder of her mother and her reaction to it, and I read that. I can't review it because it's a Booktube prize book, but I did already read that, and I'm going to be picking up the Solnit memoir, whose title I can't remember, but the picture should still be right there, and start reading that today so I can get as big a jump as I can on the Booktube prize reading and still try to get to my Black History Month reading. So I will be reading Black Spartacus as a part of my Black History Month reading. Also, I have a buddy read planned with Noel, the Book Rook, and that's Cass, The Origins of Our Discontents by Isabella Wilkerson. I still haven't read The Warmth of Other Suns, which I really want to read, but this is a buddy read that's outside the Booktube Prize. I'd hope that my Booktube Prize group would contain this book. It doesn't, but I still think I can fit it in. Also, I've mentioned this before, I want to read Our Prison's Obsolete by Angela White Davis, and then also We Want Freedom, A Life in the Black Panther Party by Mumia Abu-Jamal. I've talked about both of those books already, and so I want to read those in addition to the Booktube Prize reading that I have to do. I haven't chosen the book from my shelf that's been on my shelf for a long time for the month of February yet. I'm sorry, Zelda is like smelling everything she can find in this room for some reason. So I haven't picked that book yet, but I will pick it up and try to get to it, and try to fit everything in with the Booktube Prize reading. I would whine more about the length of the books that I chose or that I have in my Booktube Prize reading group, except that I think I voted for 4 of the books. I know I voted for Memorial Drive. I'm pretty sure I voted for the Rebecca Solnit memoir. I know for a fact I voted for Black Spartacus, and I also voted for Red Comet. So 4 of the 6 books in my group I definitely voted for. I didn't vote for This Is the End, or The End of Everything, or We Keep Our Dead Close. I didn't vote for those two, but looking forward to reading them as well as a part of the Booktube Prize. I'm kind of saving Red Comet for March because it will definitely qualify as a Mammoth, and that can be my March the Mammoth read, which kind of upends some other plans. But hey, I signed up for the Booktube Prize, and I love it, and I look forward to it. And I'm looking forward to judging again this year. So anyway, that's kind of my reading. That's kind of my Booktube Prize stuff. That's kind of where I am on things. I wanted to kind of just make some Booktube recommendations to you. And these are not from channels. These are not from necessarily small channels. I think all the channels are about the same size as mine, but they're just doing stuff that I really, really like, and so I wanted to mention that. The first is the Shaky Sonnet Show. That is over at Tootight Lautrec's channel, which essentially is going through the Shakespeare sonnets and approaching it as though the sonnets themselves make a story. I've really been enjoying that. Sense of humor there, laughter, great breakdown of the sonnets, just really, really enjoyable. I'll leave a link to Tootight Lautrec's channel down below. Also, if you haven't been keeping up with the Codex Cantina, this month they're doing a lot of short stories. They did a Hemingway story, a Gabriel Garcia Marquez story. I believe they did a Clarice Lispector or Lispector story. They've done a lot of short stories. I'm a big short story person, so I've been enjoying that when I can. I haven't been able to necessarily keep up with their short story reading, but really good videos, really good breakdowns. And I'm one of those people who thinks that we need to pay more attention to short stories here on BookTube. So I wanted to point that out. Going kind of a different direction, Jason over at Old Blues Chapter and Verse is doing a series of the 100 best movies that he's seen in the 21st century. I believe he's up to like, he's gone from 100 to 70. I've really been enjoying that, and getting to listen to Jason talk about movies is one of those great things, because you get to listen to somebody talk about something that they're really enthusiastic about. I also watched a movie on Netflix about Joan Didion yesterday that's called The Sinner Will Not Hold, The Sinner Cannot Hold. Anyway. And I've only read one book by Joan Didion. I've been really reluctant to pick up her books that I associate with grief, The Year of Magical Thinking and Blue Nights, I believe, because that's a difficult subject for me, and it's not something that I pick up and read about, enthusiastically. But I didn't know a whole lot about Joan Didion, other than she was a well-respected kind of writer. But the movie itself was really interesting. It was made by her nephew, Griffin Dunn, the actor, who's the son of Dominic Dunn, who was her brother-in-law. Anyway, so I thought the movie was really interesting because, there is a little bit of hagiography to it, because after all, it is her nephew making the movie. But, at the same time, I think he intentionally highlights some aspects of Joan Didion, particularly in relationship to her adopted daughter and to her work and her ability to kind of wall herself off from her work, to separate herself emotionally from the work she was doing, and how that might have affected her relationships. I think there's a little bit of that in there too. I found it really interesting. It's on Amazon Prime, or is it on Netflix? It's on one of the two. If you get a chance to watch it and you're interested in Joan Didion, there is that. A couple of new channels I wanted to kind of draw your attention to, if I could. I'm sorry, I have my notes written on a piece of paper over here. The new channel I've been following, and I'm going to get the name wrong, in part because I'm bad at pronunciation, and in part because I'm reading my own handwriting. One of the new channels is The Font. Isabella and Barb over The Font. If I haven't mentioned before, just hysterical stuff and good analysis of books. Bethanne Bruninga-Socolar, maybe that's it. I'm sorry, Bethanne. A new channel I found, and I enjoy her take on books and tags. There's a new channel to me, just the name of which is just Attention, and the guy who runs that channel did a tag recently. Which tag was it? I can't remember which tag it was, but just a really kind of cool, funny, humorous breakdown of two different kind of versions of himself. And then I wanted to welcome back Paul from PK's Books, one of our great Scottish booktubers. I want to welcome him back. I'll leave links to all those channels down below. And, I've been watching Lukash's, Sunday or Saturday Miscellany. His video, I think he does it on Sunday, and he always leaves links to music, and if you know anything about Lukash, it's frequently classical music, so I thought I would leave a link to one of my favorite pieces of orchestral music, maybe is what I should call it, and that is from the Planet series by Holst, and it's the most famous one, I think, Jupiter, the Bringer of Jollility, which is always a challenge for me to say. And, for me, on a Saturday morning, when I want to get stuff done or I want to perk up and be happy, this song's a great start. So I'll leave a link to the YouTube channel with that performance down below. Anyway, there you go. There's my Saturday hodgepodge for today. Look forward to your comments in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching.